very warm welcome to the Question Hour show from the Parliament House complex, your show where we get you important unstart questions that were asked by the members of the upper house during the previous session of the Rajya Sabha and the response given by the government. I'm Kriti Mishra and joining me is my colleague Akhilesh Suman. So Akhilesh, let's take our viewers through important questions and answers that we've compiled for them. And the first question in this edition is from member Kanta Kardam, and this one pertains to the Ministry of Defence. And she has asked whether the government is establishing defence corridors in the country for manufacturing defence equipment within India.
And the answer indeed is in affirmative, Kriti. And the answer says, Finance Minister in his budget speech 2018-19 had announced setting up of 2 industrial corridors in the country. In pursuance to the said announcement, it has been decided to develop one such corridor in Uttar Pradesh and the other one in Tamil Nadu. So 2 states are going to be benefited from the defence corridor as per now. The government has actually identified 5 nodal points in Tamil Nadu and 6 in Uttar Pradesh in these corridors, which are as follows. In Uttar Pradesh, Agra, Aligarh, Chitrakoot, Jhansi, Kanpur and Lucknow. And in Tamil Nadu, Chennai, Coimbatore, Hosur, Salem and Tiruchirappalli. Till date, 6 consultations meeting of stakeholders both in Uttar Pradesh and Tamil Nadu were organized across its various nodes. During the Aligarh meet held on 11th August 2018, investment of over Rs 3,700 crore were announced for UP corridor by OFB, DPSUs and private industries. Similarly, during the Tiruchirappalli meet held on 20th January 2019, an investment of over Rs 3,100 crore were announced by OFB, DPSUs and private industries for Tamil Nadu defence corridor. Further, the government has also appointed a consultation for the preparation of detailed project report for defence corridor. And in addition, many foreign companies are also being encouraged to invest in these corridors. And the next question goes, Kriti, to Ministry of Finance, and the question has been asked by the member Rajiv Chandrasekhar, and he is asking the measures taken by government in encouraging private sector investment in domestic market. It's very important question and very interesting question also. Let's see what is the answer.
Well, in the response, it is mentioned that the government is constantly taking various initiatives to encourage investment in the economy, including investment by private sector, which includes measures to improve ease of doing business, comprehensive reforms in the foreign direct investment policy, various facilitation measures under flagship programs like Make in India, Startup India, reduce corporate tax rate, and also it has launched a support and outreach program for helping the growth, expansion and facilitation of micro, small and medium enterprises. Further steps are taken to boost private sector investment in infrastructure, including launch of innovative financial vehicles such as infrastructure debt funds, infrastructure investment trusts, real estate investment trusts, mainstreaming of public-private partnership across infrastructure sectors through viability gap funding, periodic review of harmonized master list of infrastructure subsectors, and establishment of National Investment and Infrastructure Fund. Besides this, a project monitoring level Investment India cell has also been set up for resolving the issues and fast-tracking, setting up an expeditious commissioning of large public-private and also private partnership. Moving on to the next question asked by member Syed Nasir Hussain, and this one also pertains to the Ministry of Finance. And Mr. Hussain has asked about the action plan of the government to recover loan from 100 top borrowers.
Actually, this is one of the most controversial issues in financial sector, and government tries again and again to recover those loans. So the government has answered recovery of dues from the borrowers in NPA accounts, including the top 100 NPA accounts, takes place on an ongoing basis under legal mechanism, which include inter alia the securitization and reconstruction of financial assets and enforcement of Security Interest Act and debt recovery tribunals. Comprehensive efforts have been made to expedite and enable resolution of NPAs of banks, resulting in the recovery of Rs 4,01,421 crore by SCBs over the last 4 financial years, including inter alia the following. 1. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016 has been enacted, which has provided for the taking over of management of the affairs of the corporate debtor at the outset of corporate insolvency resolution process. coupled with debarment of willful defaulters and persons associated with the NPA accounts from the resolution process. This has effected a fundamental change in creditor-debtor relationship. 2. SARFAESI Act has been amended to make it more effective, with provision for 3 months imprisonment in case of the borrower does not provide asset details and for the lender to get possession of mortgage property within 30 days. Suits for recovery of dues are also filed by banks before DRTs. 6 new DRTs have been established to expedite recovery. 4. Under the PSB reforms agenda, PSBs have been created stressed asset management verticals to focus attention on recovery, segregated monitoring from sanctioning roles in high value loans, and entrusted monitoring of loan accounts of above rupees 250 crore to a specialized monitoring agency for clean and effective monitoring, and created online end-to-end one-time settlement platforms for timely and better realization. So many ways they are trying. Let us see the result. And the next question, Kriti, is by Anil Desai, and he is asking the Ministry of Corporate Affairs whether there is any central law for banning of Ponzi schemes in the country. You know, Ponzi schemes are very notorious. So let us hear what the answer is.
Well, in the response, the government says that Ministry of Finance, Department of Financial Services has informed that banning of unregulated deposit schemes bill has already been passed, and it is aimed at protecting poor and gullible people of being duped by illicit deposit schemes launched by various operators, by altogether banning unregulated deposit taking schemes, and also it has adequate provisions for punishment and disgorgement, repayment of deposits in case where such schemes nonetheless manage to raise deposits illegally. Further, the Price Chits and Money Circulation Schemes Banning Act 1978 is an act to ban the promotion or conduct of price chits and money circulation schemes. The government further says that Investor Education and Protection Fund Authority organizes investor awareness programs in the rural areas through common service centers set up by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology with the objective of creating awareness amongst the investor about fraudulent schemes and also the Ponzi schemes. Moving on to the next question asked by member R. Vetalingam, and this one is to the Ministry of Tourism. And the member has asked whether the government has implemented initiatives to take advantage of countries' flourishing tourism sector.
And the answer is in affirmative. The Government of India has taken various initiatives to take advantage of the tourism potential of the country. Some of the important measures taken in this regard include the following. 1. Swadesh Darshan scheme for integrated development of theme-based tourism circuits. 2. National Mission on Pilgrimage Rejuvenation and Spiritual Heritage Augmentation Drive scheme to beautify and improve amenities and infrastructure at the pilgrimage sites. 3. Launching of e-visa. And the 4th, launching of Incredible India 2.0 campaign. And 5, developing and promoting niche tourism products. And the 6th, providing trained manpower to meet the requirements of tourism and hospitality industry. And 7, producing 24/7 toll-free multilingual tourist helpline. And 8, launch of Incredible India mobile app to assist travelers. And 9, providing Wi-Fi facility at 88 tourist sites. And the share of India's international tourist arrivals in the world during 2017 was 1.17%. Though the percentage is not very good, but the government is telling that it is trying hard to increase this percentage. And the next question goes, Kriti, to Ministry of Power, and the question has been asked by the member Sanjay Seth, and he is asking the number of solar street lamps that has been installed across the country since 2014. Very good number.
Well, the government says that Ministry of New and Renewable Energy is implementing schemes such as off-grid and decentralized solar PV application scheme, phase 2 and Atal Jyoti Yojana scheme, under which a total of 3,95,810 numbers of solar street lights have already been installed in the country since 1st April 2014. Under these schemes, only indigenously manufactured solar photovoltaic modules are also being used. Further, these solar street lights are manufactured by indigenous manufacturers, thereby supporting domestic manufacturing under the Make in India initiative. So that is a phenomenal number, and now let's move on to the last question of this edition of Question Hour, which pertains to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and asked by member Dheeraj Sahu. And Mr. Sahu has asked whether the government has formulated any scheme for setting up blood banks on priority basis in remote and rural parts of the country, including Jharkhand, and if so, the details thereof.
Blood banks are indeed very important for treatment of an ailing person, and the Government of India has answered that it has formulated a policy for set-up of at least one blood bank in every district. Public health being a state subject, it is primary responsibility of the state government to ensure the establishment of blood banks as per their need. However, support is provided to states and union territories to strengthen their healthcare system, including strengthening existing blood banks, establishing new blood banks based on proposals submitted by the states through National Health Mission. This includes 6 districts of Jharkhand, namely Saraikela, Khoti, Jamtara, Godda, Ramgarh and Bokaro. In the state of Jharkhand, blood storage units are also functional in the remote and rural areas in CHC and referral hospital. So, this was the answer, Kriti.
Right, Akhilesh. So, these were the answers that we had compiled for our viewers in this edition of Question Hour. But on the other side, we'll have our colleagues Arvind Singh and Kriti Singh with Prashnakal in Hindi. Don't go anywhere.